Let's talk about Suits, Season 6, Episode 3, right? So this was a very decent episode, to me personally. I feel like it was very solid. Things were kind of set up, which is nice to kind of see for future episodes. The seeds were planted. It was more of a setup episode for things to kind of come. And I actually did kind of like seeing that. I'm looking forward to certain things that they kind of like laid out in this episode personally. So this episode pretty much, the basic plot was pretty much Mike Ross has to stay safe in prison, pretty much from the getting shanked or whatever it may be. That's basically the entire plot. We kind of kick off this thing with like Kevin and Mike having this conversation. Then he eventually gets called into Julius. Julius tells him to rat out fucking Gallows. That ain't happening. Then Gallows, obviously like watching whatever it may be. But Mike and Kevin kind of have this conversation. He tells Julius, or he tells Mike about Julius, telling that he kind of got a prisoner out, but then that guy never made it out alive, or whatever it may be. So can we trust him? Can we not trust him? Is bullshit. Mike tries to come to this guy, Julius, and tells him about the inmate. But he says, how dare you act? So I don't know if the story's bullshit. Is it not? Is it a different side to the story? Because everybody knows there's a whole bunch of different sides to the story. There's the right side, there's the wrong side, and there's the truth, for the most part. Or, some other shit they kind of put into it. Right side, wrong, well, who cares? Anyways, the next thing we kind of see is Rachel in law school, which I was kind of surprised to see, because I believe this is the first time we kind of seen her in law school. I did like seeing it. And I'm liking that they're actually trying to give Rachel more things to do rather than just be like, oh, I can't see Mike for 2 months. I can't see him for 2 weeks. I'm going to lose my mind. Because that just makes her seem like a very dumb and kind of pointless character to the entire show. So it was nice to kind of see her, get a little bit of that law school thing going, whatever it may be. Just in general. At first, I did think it was going to be kind of like a very forceful thing because I feel like the first scene just kind of felt like, oh, great. That was quick. Boom. Out of law school, in law school, whatever it may be. It was a very quick scene, but then we, came back to it or whatever. And I did like seeing, that she kind of got back at the girl that kind of took a jab at her because of Mike. That was nice. Now she's actually going to do the Innocent Project, as you heard. So that was, like I said, it's good to see that Rachel is actually doing something more than just, like, worrying. Where's Mike? Where's Mike? I can't see Mike. Here's my badge. But the thing is, that's what I personally feel, so I actually really did like that just in general. We learned that pretty much, the law firm pretty much needs a new client. So pretty much Harvey needs to either get Nathan Burns or William Studdard. That's kind of the ultimatum Jessica kind of gives him. And obviously he doesn't like either one of these guys, but he kind of goes to the lesser of two evils, which is Nathan Burns. Turns out Nathan Burns, Harvey tried to bribe him with like Knicks tickets. I liked the jab for the Knicks, where he says, I'll give it to my son, because he's too stupid enough to not know the Knicks suck. I thought that was actually quite funny because, let's be real here, they suck. They're not good. You don't even have to be a basketball fan to fucking know that. But I thought that was actually kind of a nice jab. And the thing is, eventually we learned that William Studdard, right, he had kind of bought the company that Nathan Burns is with. He was blackmailing him for the most part. But it turns out Harvey said we could team him up or, go up against me. It's going to be a big fucking war because that's probably what happened. But they decided to team up and now they're taking on William pretty much. And now, apparently, now they're back in the game. A couple other things that I really did like seeing just in general, or that we really learned, was we learned that Gallows is pretty much an informant. I thought that was a very interesting thing to hear that he was an informant. And I feel like that's obviously going to play a big part in the series for the most part. And Mike tries to kind of like work his deal out against Gallows, which is something, because the thing about Mike Ross is that he's an adapter, right, for the most part, right? Darwinism, as they say. He's a guy that kind of can adjust to a situation for the most part. Maybe he might not be the best at the situation, but he can adapt to it to the point where he kind of can go with ease for the most part without being too recognized. As you can see, he's done it for 6 seasons or 5 seasons for the most part. He adapted to being a lore. But to me, I thought that was something when he tried to like make a deal with him. Now he's kind of got Gallows a little bit by the balls, because if anybody finds out he's an informant, that dude's dead, just in general. So that was actually kind of fun. Oh, another thing that I really did like seeing was the girl on girl action. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Which is Rachel and fucking Jessica. I did like the conversation about like, obviously they were kind of similar. I did think it was kind of like odd that she constantly just wrote her signature on it, but Jessica didn't really care, whatever it may be on these papers. But I thought that was actually a very nice conversation. Like I said, I like smaller moments in these type of shows. If you've seen any of my reviews, I like the smaller moments, and I feel like that was a nice thing that it kind of seemed like they had a lot of things in common, because she says, she didn't deal with, I guess you say the type of being a woman and like a lawyer or whatever it may be. She deals with it pretty much every day. Pretty much kind of people I guess look down upon her because she's a woman or whatever. So I thought that was a nice little girl power moment. But like I said, I thought it was nice. Now, the biggest thing, the funniest thing by far in this entire fucking episode was the fact that they had to, pretty much buy some tenants to kind of like fill up the place to look like they're actually packing stuff. The thing is, though, I actually really enjoyed the fact that it was the phone conversation, the elevator conversation, and the trader guy. That was all fun. The dildo shit, that was hysterical. The thing is, when people are on the Bluetooth and shit, it just seems like it's utterly just like straight up ridiculousness. But yeah, that made for some very interesting moments. And now he tried to evict him. That didn't work. Harvey's kind of working with him. Now that's going to kind of be a battle of like assholes with Lewis and like the Wall Street guys. So those are all funny. But the dildo conversation and your mom's tight ass was actually quite hysterical. But then we kind of like end this episode on a very serious note for the most part. And now Sean pretty much comes to Harvey and Jessica when they're kind of like celebrating. He tells him that we can actually get Mike Ross off of prison. Free man, whatever, sentence done, boom. Only catch is he has to rat out his new buddy, Kevin, which is his only friend pretty much in prison. Does Mike Ross do it? I don't know, but he gets off a free man. I don't think this is going to happen because if you remember, right, back when Mike was kind of being, in last season, he had a chance to rat out everybody. He didn't do it. He took the time. So will Mike Ross rat out anybody? No, that's not going to happen. And if he does, consider it done to the point where nobody's going to give a shit about Mike. I said this last time. Because he's going to become a sleazeball character. But then again, that's my opinion. I have to wrap this up. This shit is long. Fuck. I didn't want it to be this long, but comment, subscribe, and like if you actually made it to this review, to the end of this review. Hopefully you actually subscribe. That'd be great. That'd be helpful. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm signing out.